Come on, everybody. Let's go. Get ready for a summertime adventure from another Sommer-Time story. This is the story of Mayor for a Day, written and told by award-winning author Carl Sommer.
It was the first game of the season for the Cougars. Nearly everyone in Springdale came to cheer the junior soccer team. Even the mayor was there. He said to the players, "If the Cougars win the championship, the team's best player will become mayor for a day." No one gave much thought to what the mayor had said, including the mayor. Small, peaceful Springdale never had a winning team. However, this year, the Cougars beat every team they played, even teams from the big cities. And no one played better than Davy. He ran fast and kicked hard. But to win the championship, the Cougars had to beat the undefeated Riverdale Lions. Riverdale was a large town, and for the last 3 years, the Lions had won the championship. Because the Lions always had the best team, everyone was certain they would win again, especially against small, peaceful Springdale. Springdale was a small city, and Riverdale was a large city. They had a lot of players, and the team won every game. What is one of the big secrets of winning in anything you're doing in sports? Emma?
Teamwork.
Teamwork. It's not me, I want to do everything. No, you care for the team. You don't care who gets the credit. No one expected that Springdale, this small little town, would ever win. But let's see what's going to happen. In the championship game, the Cougars scored 4 goals. Davy made 2 himself, but the Lions fought back to tie the score. Now the Cougars were down to their last play. Davy ran down the field, tapping the ball and scooting around 2 players. With 10 seconds left, Davy kicked the ball hard, right into the corner of the net. The Cougars won the game. The crowd stood and cheered. Cougars, Cougars, #1. Cougars, Cougars, #1. And Davy was chosen most valuable player. Mary said to Davy, "You were great. We're all excited that on Saturday we'll be going to the town square for the victory celebration. And you're going to be mayor for a day. What are you going to do when you're the mayor?" Said Davy. "I don't know." His friends told him what they would do if they were mayor for a day. "Have an ice cream party where you can eat all you want," said Jessie. "Close the schools for the whole day," suggested Tammy. "Make it a fun day. No work allowed," said Brian. When Davy came home, Dad said, "I'm proud of you. You played a great game." "Me too," said Mom. "I've cooked a special meal and baked your favorite dessert." When Davy saw the cake, he said, I just want to eat dessert." "You know the rules," said Dad. "No dessert until you eat your meat and vegetables." Yes, Davy knew the rules, but to him there were too many. Look both ways before crossing the street. Go to bed on time. Sit up straight. Eat your food. Brush your teeth. Clean your room. Make your bed. Do your homework. Whew, Davy mumbled to himself. "I hate rules." When Dad heard his mumbling, he said, "A family without rules will never be happy." "I don't think so," thought Davy. "If we didn't have rules, then we'd really be happy." What did Davy hate so much? Yes, Isaiah?
Rules.
Yes, rules. He hated rules. His parents had rules. And if your parents love you, they have rules. Learn to listen to them. All right? And a lot of children, they hate it. They make a fuss. They gripe and complain and how they suffer. And you know what one of the favorite expressions they say? It's not true. "All my friends can do that." Did you ever say that? "Everybody has it, but me. I'm a poor, lonely, suffering one in the household." And it's not true. They exaggerate. That's lying, really lying what it is. You know, parents have rules because they love you. They want you to eat right. A lot of children, I don't want to eat that. And I have 5 children. I got 20 grandchildren. I've seen them, you know. And the parents put healthy food. They want you to eat your meat, your vegetables, and drink your milk and do things. And they want to give you a healthy diet. And some children, they would fill their bellies up with junk food. But you're going to get sick when you're older. And so your parents love you. They're going to have all kinds of rules. Go to bed on time. That's a big problem. Oh, my friends can stay up late night. Come on. Your parents aren't concerned what your friends are doing. They're concerned about you. And it's those same children are griping, going to bed. When it's time to go to school, they don't want to get out of bed. They complain they have to get out of bed. Well, hey, then you have not getting enough sleep. You need your sleep. You have to get enough sleep, otherwise you're going to be sick. Your body needs it, and your parents know that. And even though you gripe and complain, if you got parents who love you, you say, no, you're going to go to bed at this time, period. I don't care how you're going to whine and cry, but they love you too much. They know what's best for you. So if you're smart, stop your griping and complaining and learn to listen to them. All right? And I remember one time, my grandson, I went to a wedding, and he lives in a cul-de-sac where it's very safe, and he foolishly just ran across the highway. Oh, was I upset. And I told him, I scolded him, don't you ever do that again. Look both ways before you cross the street. He could have been killed because it was a highway yet. And so you learn to listen to your parents. They love you, and you'll avoid many, many problems in life if you learn to listen to them. After supper, Davy always had to do his homework. If he finished early, he could go outside and play. But today, instead of doing his homework right away, Davy watched his friends play. Then he groaned, oh, how I wish I didn't have to do my homework. By the time he decided to do his homework, it was getting late. He would not finish his homework until bedtime. Davy sat at his desk and complained, why do I always have to go to bed so early? Rules, rules, rules. I'll be happy to have just one day without any rules. On Saturday, the whole town came out to honor Davy and the championship team. The band played and the people cheered. Davy led his team at the front of the parade. When they reached the town square, the mayor hushed the crowd. On Monday, he proclaimed, Davy will be mayor for a day. Hooray! Everyone shouted. What are all the people doing here? All right, Mercy?
They're happy over Davy being mayor for a day.
Yes, they're happy. They're celebrating. Davy is going to become mayor for a day. So everybody's proud that the soccer team had won and Davy is the chosen mayor for a day. But watch what Davy decides to do. Then the mayor said, Davy, what do you want? An ice cream party? A fun day? The town is yours. You can do whatever you want. The band leader raised his baton. The drummers lifted their sticks. The hornblowers drew a deep breath. Everyone waited. A great hush fell over the crowd. Then Davy announced with a great big smile and a loud voice, on Monday, there will be no rules. No rules, gasped the mayor. Hooray! Shouted all the boys and girls. Oh! Groaned all the dads and moms. They knew that a day without rules would be a great disaster. The mayor now realized how foolish he had been for making such a promise. But he had given his word, and a promise is a promise. The mayor bowed his head and said, I must honor my word. On Monday, we will have no rules. Hooray! Yelled all the boys and girls. They jumped up and down and shouted, Monday will be our best day ever. Now notice the mayor made a promise. And after he made the promise, he realized it was a big mistake. But what did the mayor do? Deshaun?
He stayed true to his word.
He stayed true to his word. He said, I'm going to make you mayor for a day, and he did it, even though he disagreed with what he said. And there's a big word, it's called integrity. And that means when you say something, you're going to do it. And I try to be very careful when I tell somebody I'm going to do something. I carry a pen always in my pocket. All right, it's in my wallet. It's got a small little pen and always a piece of paper. And if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I write it down and I stick it in my pocket in my shirt over here. And I try to always remember. And that's very important. I've written a book for teen success and have a story in there about integrity. And what happened, they made a survey of these business people, those who were successful, they climbed the ladder of success. Another group were also climbing the ladder of success, and then they failed. And they studied, why did these business executives fail? And it came down to that one word. They didn't have integrity. In other words, you couldn't trust them. When they said something, they didn't always do it. They were liars, basically. And you learn to have integrity. Tell the truth always. Right? That leads to success. When Davy walked into the kitchen Monday morning, he announced, Mom, I don't want to eat breakfast today. But you're going to be hungry, warned Mom. I'll be all right, said Davy. Okay, said Mom. Wow, whispered Davy. This is going to be a great day. As Davy went to walk out the door, he said, I don't want to wear my jacket to school. You better wear it, advised Dad. You'll be cold. I'll be all right, said Davy. Okay, answered Dad. Hooray, yelled Davy. This is how it should always be. I can do whatever I want. While waiting for the school bus, Davy felt cold. So cold he began to shiver. Grrr. I'm freezing, he told his friend. I should have worn my jacket. What did his dad tell him to do? Yes, Levi?
To wear his jacket.
But he didn't listen. He said, you know, since I'm mayor for a day and there's no rules, I don't want to wear a jacket. So Dad says, okay. And he let him do that. But now he said, oh, I'm freezing out here, you know. So now he's wishing he had a jacket on, but it's too late. While sitting at his desk, Davy became so hungry that his stomach began to growl and hurt. I'm starving, he whispered to the boy in front of him. I wish it were lunchtime. It's 2 hours until lunchtime, said the boy. 2 hours, moaned Davy. I wish I had eaten breakfast. What is Davy wishing now he had done? Miguel?
He's wishing he had eaten breakfast.
Yes, he's wishing he had eaten breakfast. So his mother made him a nice meal with eggs and, you know, and your parents want you to be healthy and strong. But he's mayor for a day, and the rule is he can do anything he wants. There's no rules, so I don't want to eat. His stomach is growling, it's hurting. He says, what? I have to wait so long to eat. I'm starving. I want to eat now. But he has to wait for that lunch bell. Ring, sounded the school bell. Finally, sighed Davy, it's lunchtime. The students jumped up and ran to the lunchroom. Only Davy and 2 other kids waited for the teacher to dismiss them. What's going on? Davy asked the teacher. He was so hungry and eager for the lunchtime bell that he had forgotten what he had done. Remember, the teacher reminded him, today we have no rules in our school. That's right, said Davy as he jumped out of his chair. This is going to be a great day. What kind of a day did Davy say this was going to be? Jocelyn?
A great day.
We're going to have a great day. All you can see now is a wonderful day of no rules. This is going to be so great. And so he's running out of that classroom very, very happy. Let's see what's going to happen. As soon as Davy walked into the hall, a boy ran into him and knocked him down. Ouch, yelled Davy as he hit his head against the wall. Davy rubbed his head and complained, why are teachers letting kids run in the halls? Then he remembered that there were no rules today. I should have kept one rule, no running in the halls. What is Davy wishing now, Olivia?
He wishes he kept one rule, no running in the halls.
Oh, now he sees the value. He knocked his head against the wall from a kid running and pushing him. Oh, I should have kept that one rule. No running in the hall. Now he's finding one rule he should have kept in the school. Since Davy had skipped breakfast, he could hardly wait to eat. While standing in the lunch line, a group of boys jumped in front of him. Hey, complained Davy, why don't you guys go to the back of the line? Because we don't have to, said the big kid. That's not fair, said Davy. Try to stop me, the big kid snapped back. Davy knew he could not stop him. The boy was bigger and stronger than he was. Davy said to the girl behind him, I should have kept the rule, no cutting in line. What did Davy say now when these bullies jumped in front of the line and said, try to stop me? Juliet?
Oh, I should have kept this rule, no cutting in line.
Yes, that's rule number 2 now. He said, oh, I should have kept that rule also. And that's what happens in schools. If you don't have rules and the teachers don't have authority, you have the bullies rising up. Am I making these things up? No, I've written a book here called Schools in Crisis, Training for Success or Failure. I took a year's leave of absence. I was a high school teacher in New York City, and I took this leave of absence and I visited 27 different schools in New York City, in all 5 boroughs, teaching grades 1 to 12. And I bypassed, and then when in my free period, because I was writing this book, I would walk in the halls. In New York City, they don't have these ranch-style schools. They got maybe 3-4 stories high. And what I've seen some of these things that you're seeing here. I've seen kids running around in the halls and sitting on desks and playing games and not listening to teachers, kicking in doors and fighting. And even though I saw a kid fighting a teacher in school, and it was horrendous, terrible. You ought to be very glad if your school has rules. Very glad. And I'm going to say this to the parents watching this. Make sure and encourage teachers to have rules, and the principals. Don't get mad at them. Schools have to have discipline for learning to take place. And I've been in school where they're not learning, the kids, because they're so unruly. The kids are disrespectful to the teachers. They don't listen. And they will suffer because of that. And that's why I've written this here book, so teachers can have rules for the kids. And if your teacher has rules, be glad. Otherwise, the bullies reign. They push around the small kids and don't touch me. They become the leaders of the school instead of the teachers and the principal. And it's sad when that happens. I never forget one girl I was teaching, and I just went one day to the school. In the 2 schools I had discipline. I was known. In fact, I was made an assistant dean of boys because I was a person known to have discipline in the school, in one high school that I taught in. And those high schools were good. They had discipline. But this one girl, I never forget seeing her, just sitting there, and she was being picked on from the other kids in the class. So sad. And why? Because the school didn't have the authority to put those bullies in their place. And you ought to be very glad if your school has rules. And also if your parents have rules. Learn to listen to them. You'll avoid many problems in life if you just say, okay, Dad, I'm going to trust you, Mom. Whatever you say, I'm going to do it. As the day wore on, more and more kids remembered that today there were no rules. The kids began climbing on desks and flying paper airplanes, throwing erasers and shooting rubber bands, yelling and chasing each other, all in the classroom. At first, Davy joined in. He thought it was fun. But the fun quickly wore off when some kids got mad and began fighting, and no one stopped them. They did as they pleased. For the rest of the class, Davy sat in his chair with a big frown on his face. Then a shoe hit him in the head. Ouch, he yelled. I should have kept all the school rules. What did Davy say after a shoe hit him in the head? Emma?
Oh, how I wish I kept all of the school rules.
Finally, after a shoe hits him in the head, he says, oh, I should have kept all the school rules. Yes, that's why there are rules, and why schools do have rules, and you ought to be very thankful they do. Let's see what happens now as Davy leaves the school. Finally, the last bell rang and school was over. Everyone, especially Davy, was glad to be going home. Davy said to a friend, "That was the worst school day ever. A school without rules is terrible." Davy was glad to be home again. He sat down and began doing his homework. Suddenly he threw up his hands and shouted, "Oh, good! Today I don't have to do my homework." He jumped up, grabbed the soccer ball, and headed straight to his friend's house. "Look both ways before you cross the street," Mom called. Mom must have forgotten, thought Davy. That's a rule, and today there are no rules. Davy never even bothered looking as he began crossing the street. Zoom! When a car had raced down the street, Davy jumped back onto the sidewalk, barely getting out of the way. "Hey!" shouted Davy. "You're going much too fast. I could have been killed." "No rules today," yelled the driver as he sped out of sight. Davy was so scared that he shook all over as he walked to his friend's house. After hearing what had happened, his friend reminded him, "Davy, did you forget that today people can drive any way they want?" Davy mumbled to himself, "I should have kept the driving rules." Then Davy said to his friend, "Come on, let's have some fun and play ball." They met some friends and began playing soccer. The ball came to Davy, but before he could kick it, someone pushed him down. "Hey!" yelled Davy. "That's not fair." "No soccer rules today," snapped the kid. A few minutes later, Davy had a chance to score a goal. But when he kicked the ball hard to the goal, a player jumped up in the air and caught the ball. Then he ran away with it. "What are you doing?" shouted Davy. "That's not the way to play the game." "I don't care," yelled the kid. "That's the way I want to play. Remember? No rules today." Then the other boys began breaking the rules. It was the worst game of soccer that Davy had ever played. Davy went home mad. Today, he did not even have fun playing his favorite game. Why was Davy mad as he walked home? Miguel?
Because the other kids that were playing soccer didn't play right.
They couldn't have fun because they were breaking the rules. Everyone was playing the way they wanted to play. And if you're going to have a soccer game, or any kind of basketball game or football game, or even any kind of board games, there's rules. And you got to obey them to have fun. If anybody's, "Oh, I just want to play it this way. This is the way I want to play," you're not going to have any fun. And in life, there's many rules, so learn to obey them. You'll have a lot more fun. And particularly, I want to stress, obey your parents' rules, even though you don't understand them. You're children. And as you grow up, you start to see. That's what's happening with Davy now. As he's seeing what happens when there's no rules, he's a very miserable kid because he can't have any fun. His school is a disaster. His playtime was a disaster. Let's see what happens now. Meanwhile, all around town, people were becoming very angry with Davy. Without any rules, their small town was anything but peaceful. People were yelling, "Stop stealing! Get off the road! You're driving too fast!" To some people, no rules meant they could do and have whatever they wanted. In stores, salespeople were selling, but buyers were not buying. They were taking items off the shelves and walking out the store. In restaurants, cooks were cooking, but people were not paying for the food they ate. Things were getting worse and worse. Angry men and women and boys and girls began gathering in the town square. "It's all Davy's fault," they complained. "That's right," yelled someone in the crowd. "This was a peaceful town until he became mayor." More and more people kept coming until nearly the whole town showed up. Even the real mayor was there. "This is no way to run a town," an angry woman shouted. "This madness must stop." "It will," answered the mayor. "Tomorrow when we get our rules back." "Tomorrow will be too late," roared the crowd. Someone yelled out, "Let's find Davy. It's all his fault." "Yes," screamed the mob. "Let's go." Everyone began marching toward Davy's house. Davy had no idea what was happening in the town square. When he came home from playing soccer, he looked into the pot of food that Mom was cooking and groaned. "I don't want to eat that." "But it's good for you," said Mom. "Remember," said Davy, "no rules today." "What do you want?" asked Dad. Davy rubbed his stomach. "I want a large bowl of ice cream with lots of fudge topping covered with cherries." "You won't feel good if you eat only that," warned Dad. "I'll be all right," said Davy with a big grin. "Okay," answered Dad. Mumbled Davy. He ate and ate and ate. It was his best meal ever. This is the way we should always eat. Then Davy smiled and said, "Maybe the day will turn out just fine after all." How does Davy feel eating this big ice cream with cherries and fudge on top? All right, Juliet?
Very, very happy.
Yes, this is the best meal ever. He's just having a great delight. He's eating now what he wants. And he's very, very happy about it. But watch what happens now to Davy. As soon as Davy had finished eating, his stomach began to hurt real bad. He decided to go to bed. "Oh," he groaned over and over again. "My stomach hurts. I wish I hadn't eaten all that ice cream." As Dad and Mom sat next to Davy trying to comfort him, they heard a loud noise. Dad rushed to the window. "What's happening?" asked Mom. "Uh-oh," said Dad, shaking his head. "It's the mayor and the whole town. We're in big trouble." "Get Davy out here," demanded the mom. Davy felt so bad that he could barely get out of bed. He held his stomach as he walked to the front door. As soon as Dad opened the door, someone yelled at Davy, "You ruined our town!" "What do you mean?" asked Davy. The mayor told him about all the trouble that they were having. Then he said, "You cannot have a town without rules." Davy knew all too well what he meant, and he knew how to fix it. "I'm sorry," said Davy to the crowd. "I thought a day without rules would be the happiest day of my life, but this has been the worst day of my life. Now I know that rules are very, very important." Then Davy looked at the mayor and said, "Mr. Mayor, you are right. You cannot have a town without rules." Then he turned around and said, "And Dad, you are right too. A family without rules will never be happy." What did Davy say about rules? All right, Mercy?
Now I know that rules are very, very important.
Now Davy learned that rules are very, very important. And I hope you learn the same thing in life, because they are. All right, and what did they say to the mayor? Deshaun?
You can't have a town without rules.
Yes, in the city you got to have rules. And there's laws. You got full stop sign, you got traffic laws. You got all kinds of rules. You got to wear your seatbelts and all these kind of things. If you live, I have many rules in my factory. I have a factory here, also in this building. And there's many rules, I have to obey them. Safety. I have safety rules. I'm very strict on safety in my shop. I don't want anybody to get hurt. Not to lift heavy weights, use equipment, use a forklift. But don't go be Mr. Superman and hurt yourself, hurt your back. And so I get on the workers. We want to have a safe place. And then finally, Davy talks to his father and mother. And what does he say about a family? Juliet?
A family with no rules will never be a happy family.
Very, very good. And you learn that lesson. A family without rules will never be happy. Your family will have rules. Learn to listen to them. I can still think of some children who are suffering today, even as they're older, because they rebelled against their parents, what they told them to do. Your parents love you, and they want the best for you. Be wise and learn to listen to them. Then turning to the crowd, Davy said, "From this moment on, I am no longer the mayor. I resign." Everyone clapped and shouted, "Hooray!" They lifted Davy onto their shoulders. Davy had never felt better, stomach ache and all. Then the mayor cleared his throat and announced, "As mayor of this fine community, I declare that from now on, we have rules." "Hooray!" shouted the crowd, and Davy shouted the loudest of all.
And now, an award-winning song from Character Kids.